He was a cheater the whole time.
Cheating, man. The divine cheater. Oh, it was terrible. So I'm almost hesitant to tell you about this crazy session we just had.
I'm jealous. I'm legitimately jealous because I was too sick to play. I was laying there like, I can't. After all the social interaction I did, I can't play. But I'm like, I should have pushed through and played, but I couldn't.
But here's the thing. If you had played, it may not have ended how it did. And now when I say crazy session, I'm not necessarily, now just to be very clear, I had an absolute blast. It was fun, right? However, the ending of this session was unlike any other. And depending on how you play the game and what kind of ending you're looking for, it may not have been the most enjoyable game for everybody. So let's just let me just kind of draw you the picture here, right? So Sean drops this description, and we're adventurers. We're going to this town. Pretty straightforward. I think we were level 8, and then Zach talks him up to level 9. Zach always talks everybody up one level. I don't know how he does it.
He did that. I was showing the text to Gabby in the moment. I was like, look at this, read it. And I showed her the whole text thread as you guys, like he said, he saw it on the road as he was like on the way there. And he sent that picture with the text at the bottom. I was flabbergasted. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe he managed to talk him up to 9.
What a jerk this. And it was terrible too, because I had planned poorly. And you know how long it takes me to make characters. So it was maybe an hour beforehand. I didn't want to look, we're on video, so I didn't want to look gross. And I had just been lounging around the whole weekend being disgusting. So I was like, all right, I'm going to shower real quick, for the boys, because they're going to smell me through the computer, right?
Yes.
And so I get all cleaned up, to play D&D with the boys. And I go to sit down, and I'm kind of taking my time doing it. And, I'm really not sure what I want to do. I'm kind of trying to come up with a build, but I'm not a power builder, the whole drill. And so I get down to it. And really, I had like 30 to 40 minutes to make this character. And so I'm starting to my heart's starting to go. And then while that's happening, I read the you have to level up. I'm like, you son of a bitch. How dare you make me level up and make an extra choice? And I was a fighter too, so I had more ASIs to go through. I'm like, I can't believe you just did this to me.
You're just like, all right, I've got 20 in every stat. I'm done.
Which was crazy. I rolled literally a 16, 17, and an 18.
No
way. It was insane. Yeah, the other stats were like 10 or 9 or something like that. It was fine. But I went fighter, and oh god, there's so much going on in this session. Let me back it up a little bit. The uniqueness of this session was anybody that was a spellcaster could pick from any spellcasting list.
Yes, I remember reading that, and I was like, oh, why am I not there playing like some kind of crazy caster? Or I think I would have played like a ranger or something, so I can have access to like wizard spells as a high level ranger.
Oh, that would have been crazy. But there was a million options to do it, and I waited till the last possible second, which was perfect though, because we didn't have any marshals, right? We had Zach, who was a frontliner, who was a tank, but there was no one ready to fight. I was like, well, perfect. I'll be a fighter. I'll just take the loss on the spell, but I couldn't do that either. That would just be too painful. So I went Eldritch Knight. So I was still full martial, but I had like a little bit, some stuff. Shield, mirror image, and kind of stuff. It was pretty dope. But anyway, that's sort of like the lineup, right? So we get to this town. There's people body switching. Like, people are apparently dead or walking dead. There's necrotic energy coming from the ground. We're like, what in the world's going on? And so we're talking to these people, and they explain to us that basically this star or something exploded recently, and this whole town and the world, or like this surrounding area, has just been coated in this magic, and weird things are happening, and they're just learning to live with it. Like, it's just kind of normal. It's, people have some extra magical abilities, people have access to extra magic they wouldn't otherwise. It was kind of like a cool culture, to be honest with you. But so we're walking around this town, and we have no clue what's going on. We cannot figure it out. We meet this guy who literally body switched. He said he woke up in a grave and then came back to his bed. But he was in the grave. He looked down, saw this decrepit body that he was in, like, and he clawed at the coffin and everything. And we're like, we got to go to this graveyard, man. Like, this is insane. And Sean is giving us nothing but, like, don't go to the graveyard kind of hints. Like, you don't need to go there. Like, that's a bad idea. It's like, we're looking at it and like, what are we supposed to do? Like, if we're not going to the graveyard, like, what's happening? Nothing else is going on. We're not finding any good clues. We're investigating. Right? Like, we're talking to people. We're looking for tracks and all this stuff. We're not getting nothing. All right. So eventually we find out that there are these wells in town, right? And I'm sorry. After speaking with the guy, he said he felt his body transported when he shifted somewhere underground. So like, okay, it's an underground thing. Graveyard, perfect. No, not graveyard. Okay, well, we have to get underground. Are there any basements? No, there's no basements. How do we get underground? How do we get there? What's going on? So we find out there are these wells in town. So we're like, okay, let's go check out the wells. So we go to one, the one in the center of town, and it's rather shallow, which was a shame because Zach is hyping up that he's an air gymnast. He's gonna like hold his breath for an hour. He's gonna go down there. He's gonna do all this swimming, and it's like, oh no, it's not that deep. Oh,
Oh,
all
that's
right.
nice.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, it's just fine, whatever. So he goes down there and he's looking around, and he goes to the bottom and he says the stone is unusual here. Like it's really firm. I'm like, okay, we'll try to break through the bottom. Maybe there's like a cavern or something. So he said he was going to try to like move some of the stone or like, break it or whatever. Sean says, go ahead and make that as an attack roll. Really like sussy though. Like, is the well going to attack us here? What's going on? So he attacks, and it like a 13 or 14 did not break it through. It didn't hit. We're like, it didn't hit stone with a 14. That's weird.
Well, you would hit it, and you just wouldn't do anything to it. It would just go bing.
Yeah, but you'd think if you're attacking the ground, it wouldn't be like, oh yeah, you hit, just nothing happened, right? But like he specifically said it didn't land. And so we're like, that's really weird. Now at this point in time, Sean says something very specific. I did not catch this comment until a minute or two later, right? He said something very specific. And like what you were talking about before, where you and Zach locked eyes, Zach looks at the computer and goes, like, makes one of these faces. And I go, what did I miss? What happened here? And so he keeps going and he explains, because we're now outside the well. We're talking to these people in the area and they're like, oh yeah, we've tried to drill in the well. It doesn't work. We even brought in a wizard and tried to blast it open, but the spell bounced back. And so then people who play D&D and know some of the bigger, badder monsters of the world, right? I look at Zach and go, there's no way. I said out loud to Sean, do you know what you're doing, right? Like, you're not going to make us fight a Tarask, would you? Because that would be a crazy at level 9. Right, Sean? And he reassures me, like, because I didn't say Tarask, right? I want to ruin any surprises for people, but I said, Sean, I sure hope you know what you're doing here. Like, I'm going to go with this, but if you're doing what I think you're doing, I think I might have a mini for this in the other room, and it takes up half of my kitchen table. So he goes, no, it's fine. It's not what you think. So, okay, all right, fine.
It's worse.
It's worse. So we can't find anything else going on. It's getting late. We're like, all right, let's go to sleep. Maybe we'll body switch or something, right? We go to sleep. We all roll, because Sean loves having people roll for shit that just randomly happens. Like, you wake up at weird times or weird places or whatever. So we all roll, and except me, because I'm a Warforged and don't sleep. So I didn't roll. But everybody else rolled. 2 people woke up in graves. Chase and Pat, they wake up and there are these wights in these graves, literally like trying to claw themselves out. It was scary as crap. And then Zach wakes up in like some chamber or something. It got really creepy really fast. So we're all separated. I'm on the surface, or the overworld, we'll say, awake, and the town lifts. I could feel myself rising in the air. I'm going, like, nothing is making any sense right here. They're able to break out of the graves. We all meet up in town. Zach is in the body of this old woman, so he's playing up like crazy. He's like, oh, it was so funny. So we all meet up back in town. We're all like, okay, we got to figure this out. Is there any way to get underground? The leader of the town says, yeah, there's a cave not far by. Perfect. So we go to this cave. Like, this has got to be it. This has got to be the way to the graveyard. We work our way into this cave, and there's like these secret illusionary walls and these traps, and we're getting like pelted by like spectral rocks that disappear, like really like beyond the wall stuff. I have zero clue what's going on. Me and Zach have some suspicions about sort of the evolvement of a certain creature, the Tarask here, right? But beyond that, zero clue what's happening. We make our way through this cavern, and he explains it almost as a wound. Like, the cavern is some damage that's been sustained on this mountain. And it's, oh my god, like our I feel like the blood boiling. So we keep on going, and eventually we find ourselves working through this cave into this open chamber. Across the chamber, there is this undead, skeletal, bony, very lich-like being, right? and he's casting some sort of spell inside a an Autoluke sphere of invincibility or invulnerability. So we're like, what are we supposed to do? He looks at us, finishes casting the spell, and just sits back in his throne, like all cool, like looking at us. And Sean explains that across the chamber, the floor leading up to him past a certain point is just glyph upon glyph upon glyph. Great. So this man has been here for how long setting up these glyphs? We have no clue. But he describes it in a very specific way. And he described it in a sense that there were glyphs in the circles, is what he said. There were circles of glyphs. And on the map, this is very important, on the map, the battle map we were playing in, there were circles. So, like, there was the grid, right? But there were large circles making up the flooring of this room. Okay? That's key to where we're about to get to and how this session ended unlike any other session we've ever played. So, there are these circles. There's glyphs. He has explained it, right? So we start walking our way in because he's not hostile towards us, this lichy dude, right? He's just looking at us, watching us. Like, it's a big dick power move is what it is. So we're walking in, and we grouped up as we shouldn't have, and because we always group up, we get oodles of damage. We start walking in, a shadow black dragon thing blasts us from the side. So we're taking immense amounts of damage already. So now we're in combat. We're rolling initiative, and this is where it gets spicy. Right? We roll initiative, okay? There's 4 of us. Me, Zach, Pat, and Chase. Right?
Right.
I'm the frontliner. Zach goes first. Okay? There's 2 things going on. We've had plenty of fights before where there's sort of 2 zones going on, right? You ran the famous one recently, right? One of the ending of our Spelljammer sessions, right?
Yes.
So, there's 2 things going on. There's a big-ass dragon right there. Right? However, leading up to this moment, everything in this cave has been an illusion and damaged us. Right? So we've already mentioned, like, oh, maybe the dragon's not real, like, we're not sure, you know? And then there's this lich guy across the way with this floor of glyphs. Right? Zach goes first, or pretty high up in the order. It was relatively unimportant. He was one of the first, like, 2 people to go. So he pulls a let's teleport into the globe of invulnerability and kick the crap out of the lich. Makes sense.
Makes sense to me.
All right.
It sounds like a good idea.
Seems like a regular idea. He's done it actually recently in the Christmas one-off, right? Where he went inside.
Can you teleport through a globe of invulnerability?
We're like, well, let's try it. And so we start looking through the rules at this point because we weren't sure. And Sean had ruled it that we could because you just can't affect it or like damage through it. But there's nothing saying you can't like teleport into it, kind of a thing. I think you could call it either way, honestly. I don't know the exact ruling of the spell. I haven't used the spell. It's a big bad spell.
I would say a Misty Step wouldn't work, but maybe like a Dimension Door might. I don't know.
So he did use a Dimension Door. So he looks to me, my character, who's, you know, tanky, right? And says, "Are you ready to go?" And I'm like, yeah, we're going to go do this, you know, in my character voice. At this point in time, we teleport into the globe. And Sean's face kind of like, he's sort of looking around, he's not sure, right? He's looking through his book. All right, guys. So, yeah, I'm gonna tell you this. You guys just kind of die. And we look at each other like,
what?
Excuse me? Like, what do you mean? And he goes, yeah, I explained it that, you know, there's a lot of glyphs on the ground. And you like, as you teleport through the area, they kind of trigger. And, like, there's just this moment of silence, like, we're just dead. That's it. Yeah, like you're dead. And so we're half the party in like turn 1 or 2 dead. That's it.
So what did he describe a magical effect?
He explained at this point that because now we're questioning like what happened, how did this happen? You know, like do we get saved? Anything, right? And he explained that as we teleported over into the sphere dropped, and lots of effects went off in the space where the sphere was, where we landed. Right?
I see.
He then sort of pulled it back and explained. So now he's like coming out of the session, right? So he's Not that any time is advanced. He himself is kind of coming out of the session, explaining to us what he sort of had planned here, and goes, "Yeah, this lich had been here for thousands of years and had been lining this floor with glyphs. So like there was all kinds of glyphs in there. And in my brain, well, he didn't specifically say it, but like, there's glyphs that'll, counterspell. There's things that trigger when you do this, things that trigger when you do that, when you enter this space, when you say a certain word, glyphs that trigger other glyphs, right? That all sorts of manner of everything that could have possibly happened. He did say that one of the glyphs deactivated the sphere of invulnerability. Makes sense, right? Also explained that a lot of the glyphs wouldn't trigger and hurt the lich. Makes sense, right? A lot of this all makes sense. And this, I thought it got a little tense at this point. So now Zach and Sean are kind of like going back and forth, right? Zach is upset, justifiably so. He's like, well, he said, this just doesn't feel satisfying. Like, we need to have, like, do I get any saves or anything? Can I fight for it? Anything. And so they're going back and forth, and Zach kind of works them down that, yeah, you can have some saves, right? We'll go with, I think it was 8 saves. And so we'll do 8 saves. I'm looking at our health, and I have, at level 9, I have like 103 hit points.
Right.
And I'm like, there's no way we live through 8 saves of whatever this is. Sean said there's gonna be a mixture of like blights. There's gonna be some like fireball action going on. Like, there's no way we live through this. Right. So at this point, I'm on the side of like, we're dead. Like, we could roll for this, but I'm gonna be dead. So like, there's no reason I need to roll for this. But I completely understand Zach's side. Right. He's like, this is unsatisfying. Like, at least let me do something. So we go through the saves. I almost kind of made it, but died. But yeah, we absolutely got obliterated. He described basically we got nuked by this magic. And at this point in time, Sean ends the session. That was it.
So what about the other two?
Died. We ended it. He explained that he really thought it was going to be a lethal encounter with the dragon, and there was no intention of fighting the lich. So the lich, he explained, it actually was a great story. He explained that the lich had been here for 1,000 years, setting up all the glyphs, like I had mentioned. And the whole reason for all this stuff happening was the lich, so many years ago, had killed a Tarask. We were inside of a Tarask. This tunnel.
Oh my god.
Right? And what was happening when the ground was moving and all this magic and this stuff was happening, the lich was sick and tired of looking at his view because he'd been here for so long. So he was reanimating the Tarask and moving it so he could get a different view.
So it's an event that would have happened, but it just happened to coincide with like, because it was the Spelljammer one, right? Like that was or did Sean already do one?
I don't know if this was oh, you know what? That actually makes perfect sense. He mentioned there was a star or something that happened. I bet it was the spell that went off and triggered all this. That's so funny. It didn't even occur to me till then because the ending was so crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about it. So yeah, but that was the reasoning for the one-off. This lich was tired of looking out his window and seeing like the same old town. So he just was reanimating this lich with all this newfound power and was just moving it. And so the town has no idea that they're sitting on top of a Tarask. Yeah, we're inside of a Tarask. Just mind-blowing just idea or a plot for the session.
Oh, that's great creativity.
I know, like I'm absolutely blown away by all of Sean's creativity and stuff he comes up with. He really is just fantastic at DMing. But this tension, like this sudden tension, this sudden death of 2 people with essentially zero saves until we had kind of talked back and forth with it, right? It was a little uncomfortable, but it was fun, and I had a blast. I think it was perfectly justified that we died, but it was definitely, there was some confusion about the miscommunication, and we had talked about it. Like,
I could see
explain it well, right? Did everyone misunderstand what was going on? And we were all kind of on the same page, but everyone took it just a little bit differently.
I can see Zach's frustration there. That's the kind of player he is, right? Like, he wants to succeed, he wants to have fun, like he wants to conquer. So not even being able to give him the chance because he made a wrong decision is rough, especially for him, where he's like, what? This wasn't like broadcast to me at all. Because I think what he's used to is the situation where we're like, yeah, this is a very dangerous thing you're about to do, or you still want to do it, but instead it was like, no, I'm not going to give the hint, I'm just going to do it, But it's also just a very cool, if it happened to me in an encounter and we had just saved 3 hours of encounter time, I'd be like, you know what? That's a good ending for me.
Not bad. But like, just to be very clear, had absolute blast. Was very fun session. A completely crazy mystery. I love me a good mystery. It just goes to show how important, and not to blame anybody, but it goes to show how important communication is
Yeah.
at the table, right? One little, missay, not that Sean missaid anything, or one thing being heard by different people and being taken in different contexts and not talking about your actions, which I know we have talked about recently about
Yes.
really explaining what you're doing to the party before you do it and saying, are we kind of in agreement with what move we're making here? Right?
Yes.
All getting arrested in a giant dungeon. It's critical that we talk about stuff. And I think this may be sort of a, like a turning point of maybe we're going to really communicate better from here on.
Well, and
I don't know.
I think it started whenever we had the Spelljammer thing where Chase was not satisfied with the way that a session went, but everybody else seemed to be like, that was wild. Like, that was fun
Mhm.
and wild. And so it was like just a little bit of like, even I was like dissatisfied because I felt like my player was dissatisfied, you know?
Mhm.
And
Yeah, yeah.
so feeding off of that, I'm like, we had a communication thing very recently that was like that. And then going into this situation, wow, that's crazy.
It was really, really great. I probably didn't tell it in the most optimal way. I'm sure Zach will recap it in an absolute crazy way and will recall things I can't even remember in my wildest dreams. But it
I mean, you
was
had me on the
really
edge of my
super fun.
seat listening to it, so you
Okay,
did
good, good,
good.
good.
You did good.
But crazy, crazy one-off, crazy ending, crazy plot. I wish you were there, but you were busy with the flu, so
Yeah,
it's all right.
I was laying around. But, you know, on a good note, personal life thing. Gabby and I are almost done with Sea of Stars, and
Heyo.
that's been awesome. We've been playing through that, and I finished Dead Island 2 this week.
I did not take you for the Dead Island boy.
Well, I played Dead Island whenever I was in high school. I played it through probably like 3 or 4 times, and I was like, man, this game's great. And on the Steam sale, it was $4.99, and I went for Dead Island 2, and I was like, $4.99? They're basically giving it away to me. And so I bought Dead Island 2, which came out what, like a year or two ago? Like
Oh, I would probably say a couple, but it's been I'm
maybe
so
it may
far
be
removed. I
two
never played the
years
second
ago or
one.
something like that. And I started playing it and I was like, you know what? This game is like just like the first Dead Island, it is nothing game changing or great, you know what I mean? But I'm playing it and I'm getting that itch. I'm like, oh, you know what? This is fun enough that I returned to it for like 2 weeks straight. Where like I kept being like, you know what, I'm just gonna play some Dead Island for like an hour. And I would pick it up, I would grind through like a mission or two, and I was like, I'm just gonna mainline the story, and if I ever feel like coming back, I'll go do side stuff. But I just
What? But there's so many good side quests.
so I did a couple of little side quests, right? But I really wanted to just like experience the game first, and it's one of those games where you have 6 characters to choose from. You can replay it as many times as you want. And so I was like, I kind of want to just see the story because I have so many games on my list right now, and then probably at some point I'll just want to be like, yeah, you know what? I'll pick up Dead Island again, and I'll just play it again because it was
But
only like
let me be real here. Was it the same characters as the first one?
no.
I was gonna say if it's the same one, you're not gonna play any of their characters. Sam is the only option. You play
Sam is
Sam.
in the game, but he's not.
Is
He's
he
not.
really?
He's a character in the game. He's one of the main cast members that you end up talking to and teaming up with.
Oh, that's
There's a
super
really
cool.
cool moment with him. So I'll let you figure it out on your own. But there's a really cool moment at the end. But yeah, no, it was really nice. I was just chilling, playing through it, and after like 2 weeks, I finished the main story and was like, oh, cool, that's good. I'll put it down for now and pick it up again later. But years ago, I had purchased Deathloop, which was made by Arcane, the same guys who made Dishonored. And so I
Dishonored's
purchased
cool.
Deathloop years ago and never played it. And last night I picked it up and was like, you know what? I'm just gonna play through this now. It's about the same length as Dead Island 2. Take me like 2 weeks to like end up finishing it. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna pick this up. And I started playing it last night, and it feels good. It feels kind of like Dishonored, where I'm like, okay, well, time to put some time into this over the next week or two.
Heck yeah, man. I just got sucked back into I think my next Minecraft phase.
Oh,
I was
no, you're gonna
always
get on the
sorta in
hightail
it.
phase now. You've heard
I
about it?
No, I haven't heard about it at all.
Okay, we'll go into your Minecraft thing and I'll tell you about hightail.
So Minecraft was super into it for a long period of time, like longer than I had ever been. I think I told you we started a realm and everything. We have all these people in it, whatnot. Built the world up like crazy. All these structures. We killed the dragon. Everything, right? And I sort of like pulled off of it a little bit because you get burnt out in Minecraft after a while. You hit that point where it's like, what do I build? I don't know. I just want to mine, And I just before I thought I wasn't gonna play it again for a long period of time, boom, right back in it. We got Elytras. I'm flying around. I'm building stuff. We have shulker
Cool.
boxes. It's so cool. So back into it. But we're playing that now, and I don't know if you've heard of this top tier A-list Ivy League of games, dude. Supermarket Simulator.
I have heard of this.
Ooh, ooh, so fun. We're like level 70 right now. We've been playing it for weeks.
I've
Me and
seen
Tit,
her on playing it, I think.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
We play it. We play it together, and we play it with her sister sometimes. So we'll do like a 3-man. My role is I just drive back and forth to stores and load up boxes and bring it back. Like, oh, we're low. I got you. I'm driving, getting the paper towels, throwing them in the back. Oh my god, dude, so fun. You can't play it for like too many hours in a row because you get burnt out. But man, it's a rush, dude.
I have played a TCG Card Shop Simulator recently, where it's the same idea, except you're just opening packs and putting them on the shelf and stuff. I've been doing that a little bit recently, but it's like an hour or two at a time where I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna drop in, play like an hour or two, and then drop back out. Hytale though, this was do you know the Hypixel server from back in the day, Minecraft? It was like they did like the Skyblock stuff, and they had like this crazy modded server that before like Microsoft took over. It might have even been a little bit after, still on Java version. It was like the most popular modded server that you could get on for Minecraft. The creator of this server started making their own game called Hytale. They got it like funded, and then they eventually sold to Riot Games, League of Legends, Riot Games, to like fully fund the game. And they were like, okay, we're going to do this with a full team. But then Riot started pushing them hard. Like, here's 150 people to work on your game. Here's all of this stuff. We need it to be this. We need it to be that. And they got it to a point where they were like, the main guy who was making it, he was feeling happy with it. But he was like, then Riot was like, it's not done yet. We got to keep working. And eventually the project died because everybody like kind of burnt out and stopped doing it. They were like, they ended up canceling it. And so they're like, oh, well, this thing's over with. And then the community was like, no, we want you, because they were showing like they had shown stuff of this game, and it's like Minecraft. Mm-hmm. It's very much like Minecraft, but it's got like all kinds of new stuff in it, right? It's like a Minecraft 2 almost at that point. And it's just got all this crazy stuff. And the community's like, no, like, come on, keep working on it, try to get through. And the guy who started, I forget his name, but he was like, guys, I would love to do that. And I very well could do that. Like, I have the funding, and I bet Riot would sell it to me, given that I don't have or they're not doing it anymore. The project's canceled. I bet if I went for it, I could, but I just don't feel like it. Like, I don't want to. And so he says this, and he says it for a long time, but then he starts talking about it. He starts talking about like some team members getting them on board, and they get some developers together. He buys the rights back. And 2 weeks later, last week, they released the early access They released the early access of this game, Hytale, online. That's and it has blown up. Like, tons of people were streaming it, and people were playing it and being like, this is awesome. And it's in early access right now. And I've seen people playing it. It's like $20 for you to get on PC. And so people have been jumping in and playing it. And I was like, man, that looks really fun. Like, it's got really cool combat and like adventure mechanics, you know, where Minecraft is very like, I don't know, survival-y and stuff like that. It's got really cool like fighting and adventuring and really cool like biomes that like don't look like Minecrafty biomes. So I'd recommend Moist Critical Charlie. He played like 2 hours of it on Moist Critical Gaming on his channel. You can just like go on there, or I think he released a main channel video too that just said like Hytale is pretty good or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so pretty good stuff. I was like, this is exciting. Can't wait to see where it ends up in a little bit like down the line, because it seems like they've taken the whole Minecraft idea and made it like better.
Okay, I'll have to check this out because it sounds super enticing now. And it's always good nowadays to actually hear, you know, not to jinx it, but like a happy ending for a game.
For real. It
actually comes out and people love it. You know?
Yeah, and he bought the game back and in 2 weeks just released what they had made. And I was like, that's amazing that they, within 2 weeks, were like, hey, you remember that thing you guys said wasn't good enough to go out? Here you go. And we have millions of concurrent players now. Like, if Riot had just released what they had already made, they would have made millions of dollars.
But they chose not to.
They just chose to cancel. They chose to cancel it, and they sold it away to the guy, and now that guy has made all the money back.
You know what would be crazy though? This is how it should end. So the guy, wherever the guy, we'll call him John, right? So John starts building his games like, I'm gonna sell it over to Riot and like we'll make it, bigger. Boom. So he sells it over to Riot. Riot builds it up, boom, boom, boom. Oh yeah, we're just gonna trash it. This guy buys it back now, so that's where we're at now. He blows it up, and now Riot buys it back from him.
Just gives him a bunch of money for it again. No,
Yeah,
I wouldn't want him
that'd be
to. I'd
crazy.
be like, no, become the next like Notch at this point.
No, but I just think I'm really happy for him. Like, really, he put his dreams up there. He strived for it, and then he'd make a whole bunch of money selling it back. Like after he already made it great, and then of
Oh,
course they
yeah.
could ruin it then. But like just the happy ending of no, I did it. I proved them wrong.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
And
pretty
speaking
cool.
of happy endings, I think we should end it there. Thanks for watching, guys.